Some people lose everything in one single moment. One phone call, one rainy road, 1 second, and the life you knew is simply gone. My name is Nora, and I was 17 when my world ended. My father laughed with his whole body. My mother sang while cooking, always the same 3 songs, always off-key, always beautiful. They were not perfect people. They were my people. It was a Friday evening. They had gone to my aunt's wedding. I stayed home, a small headache. At 11 p.m., the phone rang. A rain-slicked road, a truck, no warning. Both of them gone. Not injured, not in hospital. Gone. The word the officer used was immediately. I do not remember it clearly. People held my hands, people said things. I nodded at all of it. Inside, I was standing in a room where all the lights had gone out at once. My father's brother, Uncle Harold, became my guardian. He had a large house, a cold wife, 3 children of his own. He took me in the way you take in something you did not ask for and have no idea what to do with. Aunt Patricia never hit me. She never screamed. She did something worse. She made me feel invisible every single day without saying a word. At dinner, she served everyone, then looked at me last, like I was an afterthought. She called me the girl when she spoke about me, not Nora, never Nora. The girl needs to clean her room, she would say. He saw it all. He said nothing. That was his cruelty, quieter than hers, but just as real. A man who watched his wife erase a child and called it keeping the peace. Their children had everything: new clothes, new phones, birthday parties, weekend trips. I had what was left over. I told myself it was fine. I told myself that every single day for 2 years. School was my only escape. I buried myself in books, not because I loved them, but because studying was the one place no one could reach me. I graduated top of my class. Nobody from that house came to watch. One evening, Uncle Harold sat across from me. He slid an envelope across the table. "You are 19 now, Nora. Time to find your own way. Some money, not much." He did not look at me when he said it. I did not cry in front of them. I went to my room. I packed one bag. I thought about my father, what he would say if he could see this moment. Then I picked up the bag and walked out. I took a bus to the city, 4 hours away, far enough. I sat at the window and watched everything familiar disappear behind me. I had no plan, just forward. I found it on a side street, the Maple Hotel. Small, old, honest. The sign outside was faded. The lobby smelled of old wood and floor cleaner. The woman at the desk looked at me, one bag, tired eyes, and gave me a room without asking questions. Small window, single bed, a radiator that clicked all night. I sat on the edge of the bed and looked at my hands. This was it. This was what starting over looked like. 3 weeks later, I counted what remained. Enough for one more night. Nothing more. I went downstairs and stood at the desk. Is there any work here? I will do anything. Her name was Mrs. Eleanor Hayes. She owned the Maple Hotel, had for 30 years. She looked at me carefully. You have nowhere to go? No, I said, honestly. She nodded. Start tomorrow, 6 a.m. 5 a.m., wake up, clean the lobby floor, prepare breakfast trays, iron the table linens. Smile, always smile. By noon, my feet were burning. By evening, I could barely stand. I did not complain. Some guests were kind. An old man, Mr. Collins, left a small tip every morning with a note that said, "For the girl who always smiles." A woman traveling alone once stopped me in the hallway. "You work so hard," she said. "I hope someone sees that." Those words kept me going for a week. Some guests were not kind. A businessman in room 12 called me back 3 times to redo his room, each time finding something new to complain about. A woman in room 5 snapped her fingers at me like I was not a person. I smiled through all of it. On the inside, I counted to 10, over and over. One evening, a man in room 8 threw a tray of food back at me. "This is cold. Are you stupid?" I cleaned it up. I walked to the supply closet. I closed the door, and I cried for 5 minutes. Quietly, quickly. Then I washed my face and went back to work. Mrs. Eleanor was at the desk when I came out. She looked at my face. She knew. She did not make a big thing of it. She just put a cup of tea on the counter beside me. "Room 8 checks out tomorrow," she said quietly. Some people do not deserve good service twice. The tiredness was bone deep. Not just the body, the kind of tired that lives behind your eyes. Some nights I fell asleep still in my work clothes, too tired to change, too tired even to miss my parents properly. But some nights, the missing would hit suddenly. A smell, a song on the radio, someone laughing the way my father laughed. I would sit by the window in room 7 and let myself feel it for exactly 10 minutes. Then I got up, because stopping was not an option. Mrs. Eleanor gave me more than just work. She taught me the front desk. She taught me the accounts. She let me handle difficult guests myself. She said, "So you learn, not so I can rest." She saw something in me I had not seen yet in myself. 1 year passed. I was no longer the girl who arrived with one bag and shaking hands. I knew every room, every regular guest, every creak in the floorboards. I was still lonely, but I was no longer afraid of it. It was an ordinary Tuesday morning. 3 checkouts, 2 new arrivals, a broken heater in room 12. I was behind the desk when he walked in. He checked in quickly. Room 9, 2 nights. Rushed toward the elevator. Something fell from his jacket. A wallet. Dark brown leather. It landed without a sound. He was already gone. I looked inside. Just enough to find a name. James Calloway. I put it in the drawer behind the desk, locked it carefully, and went back to work. He came down early, checked his pockets, checked again. His face, pure panic. "My wallet," he started. "Room 9?" I said. He stopped. I opened the drawer, placed it on the counter. He checked through it. Cards, cash, everything. He looked up. "It's all here. Everything." "I just kept it safe," I said. He shook his head. "No, not anyone. Trust me, I have learned that the hard way." He stood a moment longer. "Can I ask your name?" "Nora," I said. He smiled, a real one, not the polite kind guests usually gave. "Thank you, Nora. Genuinely." Before he left, he wrote his number on a small piece of paper, in case I can return the favor somehow. I almost did not take it, but something in his eyes was steady, not charming, not performing, just steady. 3 days later, he walked back through the door. No booking, no reason given, just, "I was nearby. I thought I'd say hello. Is that okay?" I was working, so we talked between check-ins. Short sentences, small things. His job, an engineer. The city he grew up in. The book he was reading. By the time he left, I had laughed 3 times. Real laughs. The kind I had almost forgotten. He came back the next Tuesday, and the week after. Always respectful, always asking first, "Is this a bad time? Am I bothering you?" I started looking forward to Tuesdays. I did not tell him that for a long time. Mrs. Eleanor noticed. One morning, she called me into her office. I thought I was in trouble. She handed me tea and said, "He is a good man, Nora. I've seen many men walk through that door. He's one of the good ones." "He is a good man, Nora. I have seen many men walk through that door. He is one of the good ones." One evening I told him. The accident. Uncle Harold. Aunt Patricia. The envelope. The one bag. Room number 7. He listened without flinching. Without pity. Without making me feel like a sad story. When I finished, he was quiet a moment. Then, "You walked out of that house with one bag and built something real. Do you understand how rare that is, Nora?" I had never thought of it that way. I told him I was afraid. Every time something good came, it had left before. Parents. Home. Safety. Why would this be different? I asked. He did not rush to answer. He thought about it honestly. Then he said, I cannot promise you nothing will ever hurt again, but I can promise I will not be another thing that leaves without warning. I believed him, not because it was easy, because it was true. 6 months after the wallet, he asked me to marry him. Not grand, not performed, just the two of us in the small lobby after closing, lights low. I want to be your home, he said. You already are, I said. A small wedding. No big family on my side. Just Mrs. Eleanor, who cried harder than anyone. James's family welcomed me without conditions. Just welcome. I had not felt that in 2 years. His mother, Margaret, held my face in her hands at the wedding. James told me everything, she said softly. You are not alone anymore. Do you understand? Not anymore. I could not speak. I just nodded. A small apartment, 3rd floor, morning light in the kitchen. The first morning, I made tea, stood at the window, thought of my mother, her 3 songs, always off-key, always beautiful. I hummed one quietly. He heard me humming. He came and stood beside me at the window, shoulder touching mine, said nothing. That was enough. That was everything. A year later, Uncle Harold called. He had heard I married. He wanted to reconnect. I listened to him speak. Then I said, I am well, Harold. I hope you are too. What I told him. The door you closed when you gave me that envelope. I have built a better one since then, with better people behind it. Take care of yourself. And I ended the call. What that felt like. Not revenge. Just closure. Like closing a window that had been letting in cold air for years. The room got warmer immediately. I thought about Aunt Patricia, the woman who never said my name, who called me the girl. I did not call her. Some people do not deserve a closing chapter. Some doors you simply stop standing in front of. I carry my parents everywhere. In the way I work hard, in the way I do not waste kindness, in the way I hum, off-key, confident. In my own kitchen now. I went back once to the Maple Hotel. Mrs. Eleanor had retired. New owners now. But room 7 was still there. I stood outside the door. The room where I sat on the edge of a bed with empty hands and no idea what came next. I thought about that girl. 19 years old. One bag. Afraid of everything. I wanted to tell her, you have no idea what is coming. Hold on. Just hold on. Just Nora. My name is Nora. I lost everything at 17. I rebuilt it, one honest day at a time. In a hotel lobby. In room number 7. Behind a front desk. Where a wallet fell and changed my life. If you are in your own room 7 tonight, alone, afraid, not sure what comes next, keep showing up. Soft. The wallet will fall. The right moment will come. But only if you are still there to catch it. Outro. Thank you for being here on English Story Hub. Nora lost everything and rebuilt her life, one honest day at a time. My question for you: has a stranger ever changed your life with one small act of kindness? Tell me in the comments. I read every one. Like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next story. Goodbye.